profit. Put people over profit. Stop crossing guns, Schumer. Stop crossing guns. Senator, stop crossing guns. Schumer, get off it. Put people over profit. Hey, Schumer.
Oh, am I on?
Just fighting.
You're on, baby.
For what? How did you get in here?
Get off it. Put people over profit. Hey, Schumer, get off it. Do you have grandchildren?
That was the activists of Climate Defiance. You heard the guy say, how did they get in here? They're letting it be known, baby. They taking the fights to the streets, taking it to the streets, those activists. And here's a tweet from Climate Defiance. Breaking, we just fully shut down a fundraiser headlined by US Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. Schumer took $283,000, or 200 in there too, from Next Era. In exchange, he green-lit the Mountain Valley Pipeline, because all you gotta do is pay these people off and they'll do whatever you ask. This is a death sentence for us, so we shut down his event and we did not apologize. So glad that they taken it straight to the source, baby. And just in case there were any Brunch Bunch Chuck Schumer fans watching, we've got the receipts, because Brunch Bunch, I know you're out there. The reporting from the New York Times last year. Next Era Energy, a utility giant and stakeholder in the Mountain Valley Pipeline, is a top donor to both Mr. Manchin and Senator Chuck Schumer, Democrat of New York, who negotiated the pipeline side deal with Mr. Manchin. Mr. Schumer has received more than $281,000 from Next Era this election cycle, the data shows. The natural gas transport project would cut through 3.5 miles of forest underground, requiring whole areas be cleared for a deep trench. Its path would intersect 4 streams and pose a grave water contamination risk. If built, the pipeline would damage Jefferson National Forest's beauty and put its wildlife at risk. This is absolutely dangerous. So Jessica, I'm glad to see Climate Defiance take it to the streets, i.e. taking it straight to the donors.
Yeah, direct action is good and necessary. I think we all know we're not going to be able to vote a lot of these establishment candidates out of their seat right away. So what do we do with the circumstance we have, which is Schumer's going to continue to hold that seat and be in power, and a lot of neoliberal politicians like him as well? Direct action. That's the only path forward. Power will concede nothing without a demand. We've got to make elected officials as uncomfortable as the decisions they make us. By destroying the environment, you're making the American people very uncomfortable. And so there are a lot of folks who criticize direct action by showing up there and chanting and occupying his office. That's necessary. Make him uncomfortable. Make him understand the consequences of his actions, because clearly he thinks he can treat the environment like it's just a pawn in the game. He can treat his constituents and the people that will be affected by things like this as if they're pawns in a political game, and there's real people on the other side of this. And I think direct actions remind them of that as well.
Oh yeah, exposing the hypocrisy. And your quote of power concedes nothing without a demand, that's Brother Frederick Douglass. And he also talked about your point about people don't like direct action. He also talked about how people want crops without thunder, without rain. You want all that, but you don't want to go through the motions that it takes to get that. And often it is not pretty. So Climate Defiance, thank you so much for what you're doing. Now we gotta go back to Mountain Valley. For the developer of Mountain Valley Pipeline now has a clear path to finishing the project, because they paid off the politician, but it also has literally tons of aging pipe that has been sitting out in the elements for as long as 6 years. That's a potential safety problem, according to experts, manufacturers, safety advocates, and opponents of the pipeline. Sunlight and rain degrade the epoxy coating on the pipes that prevents corrosion. Damage to the coating increases the risk of ruptures and explosions. Now, while he was getting hundreds of thousands of dollars in from these developers for the horrendous project, Schumer had the audacity to tweet this last year. Here it is. The facts are undeniable. Climate change is real and only getting worse on Earth Day. And every day we continue to fight for real action to tackle the climate crisis for good. Lord, y'all, don't believe nothing that comes out of these people's mouths. Follow the money always. And a reminder for the pipeline loving Schumer, building more pipelines could drive climate change for decades to come. Even just one additional large-scale pipeline could lead to millions of metric tons of carbon dioxide emissions annually, the equivalent of adding dozens of coal plants or millions of passenger vehicles. We see you, Senator Schumer. We see you, Joe Manchin, and shame on President Joseph R. Biden for approving this project. Shame on you.